It happened again. For the second day in a row, explosions ripped throughout the country of Lebanon, especially its capital Beirut, killing 25 people and wounding hundreds more after similar events just the day before. I'm Hanan Lishinsky, and this All Israel News update will be very similar to the one we filmed in this exact same spot just 24 hours ago. Once again, the second day in a row, explosions occurred throughout Lebanon, this time targeting walkie-talkies, radio machines, and different various other machines, communication devices in the hands of Hezbollah terrorists across Lebanon. On Wednesday afternoon, once again, reports started flooding in from across the country of Lebanon of walkie-talkies this time that exploded in the hands of Hezbollah operatives, especially in the capital of Beirut, in the neighborhood where Hezbollah has one of its strongholds, but also across southern Lebanon, as well as the Bekaa Valley in northeastern Lebanon. Additional reports once again came in of similar incidents occurring in Iraq and Syria, where many Hezbollah operatives, as well as IRGC operatives from Iran's Revolutionary Guards, are known to be located. While explosions on Tuesday mainly targeted beepers or pagers, this old 90s and 80s technology that is almost not in use anymore anywhere, on Wednesday the explosions mainly targeted handheld radio devices, but apparently, according to unconfirmed reports at the moment, they also targeted radio machines, they targeted cell phones, and there were even reports that fingerprint scanners on buildings exploded for no apparent reason. The second wave of explosions on Wednesday killed another 25 people and wounded several hundreds, after the first wave on Tuesday had killed 12 and wounded some 3,000. Israeli officials estimate that the true number is much higher, and Hezbollah is hiding the numbers of casualties among its ranks, and especially Israeli officials say that they estimate that the number of casualties among Hezbollah elite unit, the Radwan force, is especially high, since the pagers and the walkie-talkies were devices that were given out not just to anybody, but especially to lower level and mid-ranking commanders in the organization. As mentioned, the main target device this time was a walkie-talkie. According to reports, this time the device was an ICOM walkie-talkie manufactured by a Japanese company of the same name. But again, according to the reports, according to the company, this device hasn't been manufactured for over 10 years. For now, there's no more information about the device itself and how it may have been prepared or rigged with explosives. We do have some more information about the day before. Remember, it was the pagers that blew up on Tuesday, and as we said in the update yesterday, the theories were that the Israeli intelligence service Mossad got its hands on the shipment of these pagers. It was reported that a Hungarian company named BAC was responsible for the production of the pagers, and it was speculated that the Mossad intercepted the shipment, rigged the pagers with explosives before shipping them on to Hezbollah. According to the latest information we have, and again this isn't finally confirmed, it seems that this BAC company located in Hungary was a shell company set up by the Israeli intelligence possibly, and manufactured the devices themselves before shipping them out. Hezbollah's immediate reaction was to order the removal and disposal of all batteries linked to these walkie-talkies. And we saw similar scenes of panic really across Lebanon, where people threw out their phones, threw out radio devices, walkie-talkies, and the Lebanese state authority for flights even ordered all airlines that fly from or to Lebanon not to allow any type of walkie-talkie or pager on their flights anymore, starting immediately. The Lebanese army even carried out public collection drives of all kinds of devices, especially walkie-talkies and radios, and destroyed them in controlled explosions to prevent any reoccurrence of these kinds of mysterious explosions. Now, the second wave, coming immediately after the first wave, of course, completely overwhelmed Lebanon's health system which in any case wasn't in the best state before this mess. Several countries sent delegations, first and foremost Iran, the Iranian regime, which is Hezbollah's main backer and sponsor. Iran sent a team of doctors and also dispatched a plane that brought back around 90 of the wounded in Lebanon to be treated in Iran. On Wednesday, Hezbollah once again put out several statements. Several of its officials blamed Israel for the second wave of the explosions and again vowed revenge and retaliation against Israel. Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, is set to speak 1 or 2 hours after this video is filmed in the late afternoon on Thursday, and we might expect some kind of announcement or statement regarding Hezbollah's course of action for the coming days. On the Israeli side, once again, we saw no official comments or statements directly referencing this incident at all. However, this time on Wednesday evening, the Defense Minister Yoav Gallant hinted in a statement that Israel might possibly be responsible after saying that, after praising basically Israel's intelligence services for their great work without saying what this work was. In a somewhat unusual move, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu put out a very short statement. He even put it out as a video statement lasting just around 7 seconds, in which he said that he repeats once again that the goal is to return Israel's evacuated residents of the north safely to their homes, without elaborating or saying anything else. A short statement of this kind is very unusual, and it's clear that in the context of all of that, of all of which is happening, it's intended to send a message to Hezbollah, the rest of the world, but also reassuring Israel's citizens that he and the whole security establishment are working to change the situation for the better. Netanyahu's statement also comes after many in Israel have wondered, even starting after Tuesday's attack, but especially now after on Wednesday, the second wave of explosions occurred without the Israeli army appearing to trying to use or exploit this situation for maybe trying to start an offensive or in any other way intensify its attacks against Hezbollah. Many in Israel, especially, it's important to understand, especially the residents of northern Israel, have been waiting and pleading and hoping that a war will break out, or not just break out, but that Israel's army will initiate a war that will push back the Hezbollah operatives from the border and enable northern Israel to return to normal life without this threat, this sword hanging over their heads. And remember, this sword has been hanging over their heads basically since the Second Lebanon War, which is in 2006. There were several years of quiet, but since then, residents of northern Israel have lived in fear and in constant worry about Hezbollah attacks. One possibility that was brought up in Israeli media is the fact that the US has been exerting huge pressures on Israel not to begin this offensive into Lebanon, this invasion of Lebanon. And it is possible that if Israel is indeed responsible for these 2 waves of explosions across Lebanon, they are intended not as a first step, not in a direct preparation of an offensive, but rather to send a very, very strong message to Hezbollah, with the message being that Hezbollah should agree to the US-led negotiation efforts and agree to a diplomatic solution. And this basically, in this interpretation, the waves of attacks are meant to send the message that Israel can hit Hezbollah whenever it wants, wherever it wants, and if Hezbollah knows what's good for it, it should agree to a diplomatic solution. If not, Israel is still ready to carry out an offensive, a ground incursion into Lebanon, but Israel prefers not to have to do this. If we're looking at international reactions to these 2 events, these 2 extremely unusual events, I think it is clear that these reactions tell us something about the possible course of action if indeed an all-out war breaks out between Israel and Hezbollah. Now, the UN rights chief criticized Israel and criticized the beeper explosions and the walkie-talkie explosions. Human Rights Watch put out a statement condemning Israel, and Belgium's deputy prime minister also excoriated Israel about the attacks. US officials, instead of saying nothing or offering support of Israel, only appeared to want to reassure the public, and especially Iran, they had nothing to do with these attacks, that they didn't know they would occur beforehand, and basically distanced themselves from the whole incident. What I think this shows is that in the case that a war breaks out, in the case that Israel sees no other option but to invade Lebanon, it is clear that the international court of opinion, so to say, will be against Israel no matter what. Even after these two waves of extremely targeted explosions, they hit to 95% or even higher. They only hit Hezbollah operatives. There were some civilian casualties, but they were very low, and they are extremely low compared to other kinds of military operations. If even after this kind of operation, Israel is criticized from around the world, from Western diplomats, from international rights organizations, and so on, Israel cannot expect to receive any support for a ground incursion into Lebanon, and this is something that is sure to be on the minds of Israel's leadership at this moment. Even though the Israeli army didn't immediately exploit the chaos and mayhem that broke out across Lebanon these past 2 days, the terror group Hezbollah is sure to be weakened for weeks to come. Thousands of its operatives, mainly lower to mid-level commanders, were taken out of commission, at least for the coming weeks. Hundreds are reported to have lost their eyes. Hundreds more may have lost 1 or 2 hands and are wounded to various degrees. And even if the Israeli army didn't exploit this in the immediate time frame, this alone will have weakened Hezbollah significantly. In addition, there's the psychological impact, there's the fear and the paranoia that is sure to grip the Hezbollah operatives at this moment. There is a complete, they can't be sure at all that any of their communication system has not been infiltrated by Israeli intelligence. And all of these considerations have put Israel in a very good position if indeed it decides to go on the offensive. Follow us on this YouTube channel and all our other social media channels, and visit allisrael.com to keep updated on the hourly dramatic events that are gripping Israel and the greater Middle East in this moment.